Gilded Cage author Vic James writes about her favorite wicked, scheming and decadent aristocrats in SFF. Aristocrats, aren't they the worst? Entitled and elitist, cruel and often willy sadistic. They're more than wealthy, more than powerful, they believe the right to rule runs in their very veins. That's what separates them from mere Bond-style supervillains. Anyone can claw themselves up to fortune or position, but you can't buy class. Yet that opens up all kinds of vulnerabilities, too. Heirs born to positions they never wanted. Ladies and princelings inheriting blood feuds and ancient rivalries that threaten their lands and their lives. SFF is chock of aristocratic plotlines. We want the underdog commoners to overthrow them, the ousted rightful heir to reclaim her position, the scheming bastard or outsider to bring them down. I love them all. And along with aristocracy comes grandeur, glittering and deadly, faded and eerie, or overblown and decadent. As a writer and as a reader, I adore wallowing in the detail of bizarre and beautiful aristocratic courts and great estates. Many of the great houses in my own books, Gilded Cage, Tarnished City and Bright Ruin, have real-life counterparts, from moated Ganges to Buckingham Palace. So, here are some of my favorite SFF aristocrats and aristocracies, in all their dastardly and decadent glory. The World of Grass by Sherry S. Tepper features the weirdest sci-fi aristocracy I've ever read. The eponymous planet was settled by old European blue bloods, and life there revolves around the most quintessential and obnoxious of all aristocratic pursuits, fox hunting. Outsider Marjorie West, Riding Ear area, herself from an elite background, is sent there to investigate whether the planet holds the cure to an unknown affliction affecting other human-colonized worlds. What follows must be the most bizarre love story you'll ever read, as well as living up to Oscar Wilde's description of fox hunting as the unspeakable in pursuit of the uneatable. If you've not read Ian M. Bank SS, the player of games, do so immediately. Jernau Murat Gurjay is sent by the culture a utopian, multi-planetary society to the vicious empire of Azad, to compete in the 6-yearly tournament of a complex game that determines rank and position. The winner becomes emperor. You might think that sounds like a particularly niche form of meritocracy, but the nature of the game is so profoundly aligned with the values of Azad's elite that it is effectively a mechanism for perpetuating their ruling status, pet game conferred equivalent of the divine right of kings. Will Gurjay change the game, or will the game change him? Elric of Melniboné was the first tortured SFF aristocrat to capture my heart. Okay, maybe Edmund of the Narnia books was the first, but being a naughty schoolboy plonked on the throne of Cair Paravel, he doesn't qualify for this lineup. Michael Moorcock's Elric books were my induction into adult fantasy, and the albino sorcerer emperor broke my heart. As a 12-year-old I drew endless pictures of Stormbringer, his demon sword. Elric is the last ruler of a culture he despises, and as Melniboné degenerates before our eyes, the ultimate toxic, codependent relationship between Elric and his sword grinds to its conclusion with a Shakespearean inevitability. I have no idea how I first found Ellen Kushner's Swordspoint, and it certainly never heard of Fantasy of Manners when I picked it up. My copy is a tiny, chunky US mass-market paperback with a gloriously 80s vintage cover. But I fell hard for the world of Riverside, Alec of Tremontaine and Richard St. Fear. Swordspoint is over the top in everything, in the best way possible, from the prose to the intrigue, to the jewels and above all, the romance. Kushner's romance is narcotic, sugar-sweet and poisonous at once. It hooked me. Never much of a fan of love stories, like these are all classics, but if you're looking for exciting USFFs that don't draw from Western historical archetypes, in the past 12 months I've read and loved Julie Dao's Forest of a Thousand Lanterns, about an outsider worming her way to heart of a Chinese-inspired imperial palace, Aliette de Bodard's House of Shattered Wings, in which factions ruled by fallen angels vie for power amid the ruins of Paris, while Asian powers from dragons to the Jade Emperor look on, and Rhoda Bellez's Empress of a Thousand Skies, in which Princess Tan, last survivor of the assassination of a interplanetary empire, pursues her revenge. Vic James author photo CJ Dacey Vic James Gilded Cage, a 2018 World Book Night title. Tarnished City and Bright Ruin are out now from Pan Macmillan.